Hi dear friends, welcome back to Aksharadari. I am Devraj. I hope you guys are learning great and earning great. So let's start today newspaper. Before going to start on today newspaper reading, so I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment and share the video if you like the video. So let's start reading the newspaper. Today newspaper. Sheikh Hasina to meet PM Saudi Crown Prince. Coast Guard rescues 10 stranded fishermen. Yatra brought real issues to for Kargil. Do subsidies still focus from job generation? Its populist measures versus systemic issues. Al-Kharaj proves too hard for Zverev. Delhi Maidan venue for dialogue on reviving Black Sea grain initiative. African Union to join G20 as Sherpas reach a deal. Membership of the AU in the grouping appears to be a major breakthrough, with both Russian and Chinese officials backing the move. It is unclear whether the forum will be renamed G21. Flyover project to take off again. Hub to counter dengue to be launched. Stalin joins with Giants issue with Modi and Sanatana Dharma. Congress sticks to middle path. We understand that this country is made of myriad hues, where everyone has a place. Neither the Indian constitution or our own country's own party's tradition allow us to show someone as better than others. BJP, JDS alliance on the cards. Modi presents a 12-point proposal to expand India-ASEAN cooperation. Beneficiaries of Shakti to pay service charges per cards. Charge per cards. Ejipra flyover project to take off again. A new contractor chosen. The total project cost now would be 307 307.96 crore, up from 204 crore when work began in 2017. Monitoring up and AI based model to counter dengue to be launched. Suicide prevention campaign at Nimans. Technician of private hospital arrested for molesting man. Two killed in road accident. Issue death certificate to widow of excavator operator. Justice Suraj Govindaraj passed the order while allowing the petition filed by the operator's wife. Case CHE post for Jakarta. Auto rickshaw driver stabbed. Government considering making BBMP a separate health unit, says Dinesh Gundurao. Navigating the airport commute challenge in Bengaluru. In an experiment to evaluate the Bangalore city to airport commute, Darshan Devaya BP, Aditya Bhardwaj, and Janvi Tia set out on their journeys from the city center to the airport using three modes of transport: train, bus, and car. The trains to the airport have very poor occupancy. Get on track. A new safety awareness campaign at Southwestern Railway has animated ads and documentaries by Mangalore-based filmmaker Vinod Rajendra. Postcards with a difference. Pin codes and exhibition of paintings and postcards will showcase the work of around 11 artists with this weekend. A new safety awareness campaign at the Southwestern Railway has animated arts and documentaries by Bangalore-based filmmaker Vinod Rajendra. Cabinet note for departmental probe into low-quality school uniforms supplied by KHDC. The inquiry will be conducted by the Department of Commerce and Industries. CM Hajas PM to withdraw statement on need for response to Sanatana Dharma remark. Confidence on rehabilitation medicine heart demands. HC allows Shant Timmaya to continue as the KSPCB chairperson till further orders. CM Deputy CM walk to mark Bharat Jodo Yatra anniversary. BJP to stage protest today. Despite a busy work schedule, youngsters today find time to rehearse and perform plays regularly. Ramakrishna Kannarpadi at 72 is not yet ready to hang up his boots. He not only continues his work as a theatre makeup artist but also plans on returning to center stage with a solo show soon. From the French colony to Bangalore, an adaptation of Moliere, The School of Wives. The play is a disloyal adaptation of Moliere popular play where the performers explore the story of Agnes when she was brought by Arnold Pay. Karnataka in focus. The little known Tom Baba Sahib, building up fort by the Marathas. Only the remains of a glorious past. Inspiration for a play in Kannada. Play in English too and on the rebellion. Place of a hero of 1857 rebellion, now a government office in a shambles. Bhaskar Rao Har Baba Sahib is described as a brilliant person who had a library of nearly 4,000 Sanskrit works in his Vada. What once served as a stable for horses and elephants has now been converted into a private school. The stable surrounds the Venkatesh temple, Venkappa temple, believed to have been built by Sahib and now managed by a trust at Naragund town in Gadag district. Karnataka CM tells officials to work in tandem to check atrocity cases against STs. Indian Coast Guard rescues 10 stranded fishermen at sea. ICGS Ayush rescued a fishing boat Ganapati Perumal that had been drifting since September 1st. A surface and air coordinated search by the Indian Coast Guard ships and aircraft located the boat. Speculation on JDS BJP tie up against team after Devegowda's trip to Delhi. Police in Aluva arrest youth for allegedly assaulting 8-year-old. Disappearing languages, vanishing voices. Let's read this article. English as a common language in India has been acting as a thread by connecting multilingual Indians since the time of the British Raj. While communication in English is not much of a problem in the cities, the language becomes an impediment in the remote areas. This leads to the question, why cannot all people in the world speak in the same language? It would be so much simpler and strengthen our power as a united human force. Let us look at the biblical story of the Tower of Babel. In chapter 11 of the book of Genesis, it is said that the descendants of Noah, after the aftermath of the great flood, spoke a common language. They migrated towards the east and finally settled down at a place called Shinar. They began building a city and a tower tall enough to reach heaven as a demonstration of their collective strength. Yahweh, the God of the Hebrew Bible, became alarmed and annoyed on observing this, and broke them into many groups, each speaking a different language to reduce the power of their collective strength. This created confusion in terms of communication and understanding, and the project failed. Some people are of the opinion that the British made a blunder teaching English to Indians, which helped them to unite, communicate, and become powerful enough to end colonialism. Irrespective of whether the story is true or not, The writer of this narrative knew the power of a common language. Language is a vehicle to transport and transform information, ideas, and emotions. A forecast of language extinction. An estimated 7,000 distinct languages are spoken as a mother tongues across the world, but these languages are shrinking rapidly. An interesting mathematical model published in the Economic Journal, which forecasts the extinction of 40% of languages with less than 35,000 speakers within 100 years. By extinction, it is meant that the languages will no longer be spoken as a tongue or as the principal language. In essence, the diversity of languages is shrinking with time. Mother tongues of about half the people in the world belong to a pool of 10 most spoken languages. Language diversity faces a grave threat. Today, English is the most widely spoken language of the world. British colonial rule helped spread the language. This shrinking in the diversity of languages and their extinction are also related to the migration of people to countries which have a common language. When people migrate, there is a pressure to shift to the dominant language spoken in the country where they live in order to capitalize on the social and economic advantages offered by the new place. In the process, first generation migrants become bilingual. The next generation has a weaker grasp of its mother tongue, and the third generation may no longer speak or understand their grandparents or grand great grandparents at all. India is a good example with increasing migration to English speaking countries. English now has 340 million native speakers and more than 1.2 billion second language speakers with much scope for further growth. One wonders what would happen to Hindi with an estimated 586 million second language speakers in the world. Would it grow to the level of English? And the language index. The index of linguistic diversity, which was introduced to quantitatively understand the trends over the past 30 years in the number of mother tongue speakers of the world's languages, is a measure to gauge the decline of languages. There is also a language diversity index where the probability that two people selected from a population at a random will have different mother tongues. It ranges from 0, everyone has the same mother tongue, to 1, no two people have the same mother tongue. Obviously, countries that have people with a smaller number of mother languages have a lower LDI than countries with a large number of mother tongues. For example, the United Kingdom has an LDI of 0.139 when compared to 0.930 for India. Interestingly, although the predominant language in the United States is English, as in the United Kingdom, due to the significant presence of migrants from different countries, the LDI of the US is 0.353. In terms of LDI, the three lowest ranking countries are Haiti, Cuba, and Samoa, while the top ranking three countries are Papua Guinea, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands. The ILD demonstrates that globally linguistic diversity declined by 20% over the period 1970 to 2005. Regionally, indigenous linguistic diversity declined over 60% in the Americas, 30% in the Pacific, including Australia, and almost 20% in Africa. But calculating the index from a sample of only a certain number of languages, let us say 1,000 languages out of 7,000 languages over a period of time, may not give us the correct picture as the world population is also increasing. The index actually tries to understand the distribution of speakers among all the spoken languages of the world. What has been found is that the distribution is becoming greatly uneven with the passage of time. What we see is that a greater number of people in the world are transitioning into just a few dominant languages at the expense of several smaller ones, resulting in a loss of linguistic diversity where finally some of the languages are becoming extinct. According to the Linguistic Society of America, dozens of languages today have only one living native speaker, which shows how precariously played some languages are once they vanish, and identity and culture also vanish. Language is not only a vehicle for communication and to express ideas and emotions, but it also carries cultural values and indigenous knowledge. The extinction of languages will only result in shrinking cultural diversity and an increase in cultural homogenization. The situation in India, need for strategies. According to a report published by UNESCO in 2018, so 42 languages are heading towards extinction in India. These were spoken by less than 10,000 people. These were spoken by less than 10,000 people according to the norms set by UNESCO. Any language spoken by only 10,000 people is potentially endangered. Most dying languages are from the indigenous tribal groups spread across India. The world is very concerned about biodiversity and is alarmed by the loss of species. Different languages can be compared to distinct species in the lingosphere. If we can use such a term, any loss of language is not only a loss if linguistic diversity, but also a loss in terms of associated cultural variations, opinions, views, and knowledge. It is time to evolve ideas to arrest the decline of languages on the larger global canvas. The world must at least try to find ways and means to preserve some of its endangered languages. The LSA is doing an admirable job in trying to learn about these endangered languages. It is also making video tapes, audio tapes, and written records of the languages, and along with their translation. It is hoped that other institutions will emulate this and act to reduce the disappearance of languages in whichever way they can. This is about the languages which were in the edge of extinction. Let's go to the next findings fuel in the Indo-Pacific. Let's read this page. The historic Camp David summit in August this year among the leaders of the United States, Japan, and the Republic of Korea marks the new beginning of the strategic partnership among the three traditional allies. As India and ROK commemorate in the 50th year of their diplomatic relations, the Camp David summit and a refreshingly new strategic thinking in Seoul offer a unique opportunity for New Delhi to reimagine its relations with Korea, especially in the Indo-Pacific. Along with Japan and the US, ROK has the potential to emerge as a key piece in India's Indo-Pacific strategy. It is, however, important to weave the prospects of the Indo-India ROK strategic partnership in the broader context of the recent geopolitical developments in the East Asian region. Here is an outline of some of them. The significance of the Camp David meet. One of the most significant developments in the region has been the South Korea Japan US trilateral meetings in the US at the Camp David summit last month. For one, it indicates a much needed repair in Seoul Tokyo relations. This positive bilateral development is the function of a recognition of the changing regional security environment by the three countries. This could, along with AUKUS, the US, the United Kingdom, Australia, the Quad, India, Japan, Australia, the US, or CHIP, four alliance, the US, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea, lead to a strengthened US led alliance structure, though dispersed to reflect the multipolar urges of the contemporary international system in the East Asia. Second, the summit has the potential to set South Korea on a new strategic direction in the Indo-Pacific with improved relations with Tokyo, more synergy with the American MIU and China, and enhanced engagement of the Indo-Pacific. Third, this also marks a strategic shift in Seoul's traditional approach of not upending China at any cost. The previous government, for instance, was far too shy of articulating the China challenge given its potential strategic fallouts. And Seoul's economic proximity to Beijing, around 20% of its total exports go to China. The new thinking appears to indicate the view that trade dependence on China does not mean passivity towards a growing Chinese military presence in the region. Fourth, there is today a keen desire in ROK to join the Quad grouping. Seoul has wanted it for some time, but it was unsure whether Tokyo would support its bid given lingering bitterness from historical memories. The Camp David summit may have changed that, and it is possible that South Korea might apply for a membership in a Quad plus next year. Finally, there is a new foreign policy enthusiasm in Seoul today. President Yoon Suk Yeol has declared that the main goal of his foreign policy would be to make South Korea a global pivotal state. The country's engagement of the US and Japan support to Korean articulation of the China challenge and a desire to play a bigger role in the Indo-Pacific in underline this new version. This geopolitical context provides a unique opportunity for India and ROK to enhance their strategic partnership in the 50th year of the diplomatic relationship. There are a number of reasons why ROK is a natural partner for India and the Indo Pacific. For one, ROK's location in the Indo Pacific, close to China, while being a US ally, provides India with a like minded strategic partner. Second, for both ROK and India, the rise of China and its unilateral attempts at reordering the Asian security architecture are of great concern, even if the two sides hesitate in clearly articulating the China threat. Third, for India, Seoul can be an important regional partner at a time when India is closer to the US than ever before in history, and is concerned about Chinese intentions and power like never before in history. Defense nuclear reactors as focus areas. There are several areas where the two countries could focus on in order to strengthen their relationship. At the political and diplomatic levels, the two sides should consider establishing an annual summit at the level of the foreign ministers and a 2 plus 2 format dialogue. India currently has 2 plus 2 dialogues with the US, Japan, Australia, and Russia. The partnership could also benefit from reciprocal visits by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Mr. Yoon to each other's country. Perhaps the two sides could be even more ambitious and explore the possibility of negotiating a South Korea, Japan, India, US initiative on critical and emerging technology ISET, along the lines of the recently concluded India US ISET. Defense is another area where they could strengthen their relationship. South Korea's willingness and ability to cater to India's defense needs within the ambit of India's Make in India program must be utilized. The K9 Vajra, a 155 self-propelled howitzer built by L&T with the technology from South Korea's Hanwha Defense is an example in this regard. South Korean built K2 Black Panther tanks could also be co-produced in India for the Indian Army or third countries. Another area of collaboration still could be in the context of Korean built civilian nuclear reactors. Even after the conclusion of the India-US civil nuclear deal, India International Atomic Energy Agency safeguards agreement and the Nuclear Suppliers Group waiver. New Delhi has not been able to import any nuclear reactors due to the difficulties foreign suppliers have with India's nuclear liability law. Given India's growing need for clean energy and Seoul's remarkable track record in supplying cheaper and faster nuclear reactors to the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia and Central European states and New Delhi could also consider purchasing Korean built reactors so as to expand the share of nuclear energy in the country's energy basket. If needed, Seoul is open to working within the Indian liability law and under subsequent assurances given by the Indian government. Okay, with a new strategic outlook and along with the US, Japan, and Australia is uniquely placed to help India advance its interest in the Indo-Pacific. This is about the business news. The restoring order seen did well to call out the Myanmar junta's repression of dissidents. Do subsidies and safety nets to take focus away from generating jobs. When there is decline in purchasing power for the bottom half of the population, to say don't indulge in safety nets and support for them because it will trigger inflation for everybody else is because is being a bit unfair. We understand that a balance must be struck. A source, a riot, and a dilemma on a WhatsApp group. Friendliness towards sources can be misconstrued by them as an approval of their ideology or perspective on a subject. From the Hachis, big powers offer to aid Bangla and Pak in repatriation. Bharat Jodo Yatra is a people's movement congress. Party celebrates first anniversary of foot march led by Rahul. Yatra started to bring us real issues such as economic inequalities, price rise, joblessness, subversion of constitution to the poor, says Kargi. India keen on having quad leaders for Republic Day parade. Delhi may turn venue for talk on reviving BSI. Conversion complaint can be filed only by kin of affected person. HC. Stop sheltering test, says Manoshina and Sopore. Drop party from name, use Dal, says Chief tells BJP. SEC states Karnataka HC verdict on online rummy. Arms license of minister's son cancelled. At G20, Japan backs India, not China, as bridge to global south. Japan sees a rivalry over the leadership of the global south between India and China, and it is in the interest of Japan under the G7 that India plays a leading role in the global south, not China, says Tokyo based strategic affairs commentator. High hopes for climate and energy outcomes at summit as India takes lead. Meetings with Modi, Saudi Crown Prince has Sina's Delhi agenda, concert of rare instruments planned at the president's dinner. Modi began to discuss trade issues, jet engine, drone deals during meet. French president to meet Modi on Sunday. Center to stop sites from waving dog patterns to mislead bias. Dropped guidelines open for public comments till October 5. They include ways to prevent and regulate false urgency, basket sneaking, confirm shaming, post action, subscription trap, applicable to online platforms including sellers and advertisers. Uh, Poila Baisaki's West Bengal Foundation Day Assembly. President Draupadi Murmu to inaugurate NHRI's conference. Bengal governor invites Mamata to stage protest inside the Raj Bhavan. Railway Institute sign MOU with Airbus to create jobs. UP to release a dictionary for the regional dialects of state. Haryana CM sparks row with a remark. Guga's blessings. Australia PM confirms a China visit. Lee says ready to resume exchanges. Police beat arrest opposition supporters in Ethiopia's Tigray. Armenia PM says Azerbaijan preparing military provocation. Sudan's chief travels to Qatar for talks with Emir as conflict rages. At ASEAN summit, Indonesia warns against renewed conflicts. Interactions between officials from the US and China are being closely watched as they seek to control tensions that risk flaring anew over issues ranging from Taiwan to ties with Moscow. China may be using AI to sway US voters, says Microsoft. Philippines opposes militia vessels in South China Sea. A systematic repression, crushing Myanmar UN. UK rejoins EU's science research program. Britain is also rejoining Copernicus EU space program's Earth observation component. French court backs Abaya ban in schools. Appointment of no notification. Onions, tomatoes, spices fired up thali cost in August. Cost of a vegetarian thali increased 24% year on year, while a non-vegetarian thali's cost rose by 13% last month. CRISIL Market Intelligence and Analytics says in monthly report on food plate costs. Government notifies the GST rules for casinos, e-games. Aurobindo Pharma unit receives EIR from US FDA. United Breweries appoints Vivek Gupta as MD and CEO. Government must not stunt e-commerce growth. IMF has FSB for push for sharing import to given govern crypto assets. SB offers a card to use across transit modes. Sandur manganese and iron ores gets listed on NSE. Switch Mobility aims to sell 3,000 IEVs in first year. US jobless climbs its lowest since February flags a tight labor market. Food processing sector to generate 9 million jobs by 2024. India's household consumption could quadruple by 2030 and help boost food processing. Hasi faces a stock looking forward to IPL return after 2015 edition. Netherlands recalls Van der Marwijk and Ackermann for ODI World Cup. Brief delay as spectator needs medical attention at US Open. If you like me, if you don't have to eat Messi, says Ronaldo. So a stern stays test avoids Rahul as he takes God again. Tension soars between PCB and Jay Shaw. Bopan and Abdurn storm into the final. The stylish batter, having a record from injury, is expected to strike a balance for India, starting with the high intensity clash against Pakistan on Sunday till the end of the World Cup. India has a chance at Agjo Gukesh. Alcaraz on course for title defense after ending Zverev runs Medvedev battles past heat. India goes down to Iraq in shootout after a controversial contest. It was a credible show by the Blue Tigers, who were without their talismanic striker and captain Chetri. Asian Junior Chess from today. Messi, Haaland, Mbappe nominated for Ballon d'Or. India beats Nepal, enters SAFF U under 16 football semi-final. FSDL rejects Chaube plea for postponement of ISL 10. Sutirtha Springs a surprise on Taipo Suji. Agnostic wins the HH Sri Krishnaraj Vadea Memorial Trophy. Vachir Largrave climbs rapid title with a round to spare. Beat notification breed standard online. Yeah, some tenders notification. If you guys think useful, you can make it work out. Stanley makers are beautiful. My holy gosh, shooting for the stars and Olympic glory. It feels really great that I finally achieved the quota for Paris 2024. Have been looking to win this for so long, and it is great that it has come with a bronze medal at the World Championship. So, what is this? My holy gosh. Test yourself handsome, assorted trivia, and questions across various sports and games. Providing support to women dealing with the unbearable pain of vaginismus. Head of Vaginismus Awareness Day and September 15, experts call for understanding the condition and to provide interventions for women. It is estimated to affect 5 to 70% of individuals in a clinical setting based on studies conducted in the 1990s. Numbers vary across nations. Statistics on women dealing with vaginismus in India are unclear. Women may be dealing with the pain in silence without access to community and care. According to a report, 60% of women face problems accessing healthcare. Many seek treatment only when the pain becomes unbearable. Unfolding a dementia epidemic requires dealing with huge shortfalls in infrastructure and awareness. What does a healthy breakfast mean for you and your day? Text and context. This is make a note if it is important for the bank. If this is important for the banking exams. Number of CBI officers who received police medals from the government. Estimated growth in domestic air passenger traffic in financial year 2024. ICRA decrease in China's exports in the fourth month of decline. People rescued from flood waters in Greece. After days of flood, increase in online gig work from 2016 to first quarter of 2023. Impact of RBI's lending guidelines. Why did the RBI introduce guidelines enabling a borrower to transition from a floating interest rate based loan to one with a fixed rate interest rate? How do lenders communicate the impact of switching from floating to fixed rates to borrowers? How does the RBI assess borrowers' repayment capacity? What is heat index and why it is important? Why is it important to measure? How does high humidity impact the human body during a heat wave? At what temperature and humidity levels do heat cramps or heat exhaustion become likely? This is the last page, guys. Ukraine war, the issues with Russia's arms purchases from North Korea. The trade between North Korea and Russia, despite international sanctions, raises concerns about the impact on UN sanctions, funding for North Korea's weapons programs, and the transfer of advanced technology to Pyongyang. So, little important this for the point of examination. So, just read this page, last page, text and context page. So, to know the fact. So, reigning of 7 days, over 7 decades on the British throne. Elizabeth II died at the age of 96 on September 8, 2022. Here is a quick on her and other queens of England. So, I hope just continue reading the newspaper for 2 hours in a day. So, it will make you really very fluent in the next 30 days. I'm sure about it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading. If you have any doubts or comments, please leave the comment in the comment box so that I can come up with a resolution. So please subscribe the channel, like and comment so that I can bring very informative videos in the upcoming days. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.